Everybody literally wants to have a meaningful life. Everybody literally wants to, live and be successful. Let me put it that way, to be successful. And in order to be successful, no matter where we are, no matter the age, no matter the experiences that we have gotten to, there is a definition of what success means to us at every particular point in time. And at every particular point in time, we are always striving towards that. And sometimes, as a matter of fact, we could actually become lenient and even complacent in the terms of pursuing those goals. That is, we begin to compare ourselves with other people, and it is not even the comparison of the fact that being depressed or being demotivated. No, it is the kind of comparison that makes you draw into complacency, whereby everybody under normal circumstances, I want to do something better, I want to do something better for myself, and perhaps another guy also wants to do something better for himself. And when we meet at, let's say we meet at a place, and maybe we are playing together, or we are drinking and having fun together, all of a sudden, depending on our circles, and that's what actually happens to some of us, is that we are easily influenced by people that are around us. And that's a fact, because birds of the same feather, as we have it, flocks together. And it is not that as a matter of fact, if bird of different feather tends to move with another kind of bird, what happens is that over time they begin to adapt and curb themselves to become these kinds of birds. And what I'm trying to say in essence is the fact that when we are together with people we call our friends, maybe family, I don't know who it might be to you, it could be your colleague, some of us tend to shrink ourselves to be able to fit into their own definition of who we are meant to be. Perhaps who the kind of life they expect us to be. And that's why we have this kind of persona where everybody is trying to live up to the expectation of somebody. You can actually try to say that no, you're not that kind of person, or this is not the kind of person or the kind of life you are living. But to some extent, when we are with or around some kind of person, we live some kind of way, we talk some kind of way, we try to say things to be able to please them, so to say, to be able to make them feel comfortable around you. We might even end up saying vague things, or saying things that are not even right under normal circumstances. And sometimes you sit back and be like, under normal circumstances, I am not supposed to be there. And this thing, what actually happens is that once you are saying things that are not true to yourself over time, you tend to not even trust yourself. You tend to not even believe in yourself anymore. You tend to not look at yourself eyeball to eyeball and be factual with yourself, because you know your truth. You know what exactly you have to be doing. And this truth of yours could actually be different from the truth of other person. So living a life to be successful, wanting to be successful, sometimes takes us to first of all accept ourselves, accept who you are, and be non-apologetic about it. That is, come out straight, come out plain, and really let people understand the kind of person you are unapologetically. If you're with your friends that maybe they drink or they do some other things, or maybe they party and the likes, and it is not your kind of person, but you just want to party so that you will not be left out, or you want to say some kind of things that way in order for them to be able to accommodate you. If that's not your kind of person, if that's not kind of you, if these things are vices to you, or they are not pushing you to become the better person that you want to be, you know our circle actually does a lot of things in us accomplishing our success. And in order for us to accomplish this kind of success, most of the time we tend to withdraw and even forsake our own personal calling, the reason or the purpose to which we have been attracted to. And in because of us drifting, while we are drifting away from this calling, so to say, we tend to then give up on our dreams, give up on the bigger picture of who we intend to become. And so one of the first step of coming to become the best version of ourselves, one of the first step is for us to reconcile with ourselves, be sure of who you are, you know get to become abreast of your kind of person, your kind of personality. And after you are sure of who you are, be sure of what you want. Be sure of what you want, literally write it down. If somebody is asking you today, what do you want to become, can you literally articulate these words without having to say a lot of gibberish and a lot of nonsense? Can you really articulate those words one after the other without having to flop in any way? So you need to be able to articulate what you want, who you are, the kind of things, your boundaries. You for it, once you do not know yourself, once you cannot really articulate the kind of person you are, it is easy for you to become just anybody. If you don't know where you are going to, it's easy for you to just become quite distracted and just give in to anything that comes along the way. But for you to be able to now have a successful, meaningful life, one of the things that you have to do is to be able to articulate properly. Articulate your kind of person, articulate your boundaries, articulate the kind of things that you want to go around you, articulate the kind of things you do not want to go around you, and then articulate your destination. That is, this is the kind of life I want to have. It's not the kind of life that when somebody is asking, what do you want to become, if you do not know where you are going to, you can just go through any route, you can go through any direction. As a matter of fact, if anybody is telling you something about something, you just head into that direction, because every way leads to your direction, because you do not know where you are going to. So you need to know where you are going to, so that you can know the point at which you need to now start going on. So after you have known where you are going to, then you need to, find a means, find a way to articulate properly, and expressively explain and understand where you are at the moment. That is what your strengths, your weaknesses, your excesses, everything around you, your relationship, everything. Be able to vet all of these things. Perhaps in another video I'll be able to explain or point out all of these things one after the other. But at this moment, we are going to move on with this. And what happens in quest of you trying to live a meaningful life, or living or striving to get your purpose? What happens is the fact that you begin to lose people around you, you begin to lose your friends, you begin to lose people that you think you used to be close with. What happens to you when you say, okay, I want to focus on my goals, I want to just focus on my goals and make sure I get my goals? Is the fact that people that are not in alignment with those goals begin to be somehow something just happen and they begin to just cut off. You just begin to lose them one after the other. And that's just life. It's because they are not in the picture, they are not in the bigger picture. You might be playing together, maybe going to play soccer together, going to the field together and all of those things. But when it comes to life, you have to, in fact, once you focus on yourself and you focus on your destination, that this is where I'm going to, a lot of people that are not heading in that direction will begin to go. And people that are now heading in that direction, you will meet them along the way. Not when you start, you will meet them along the way. And this is what actually now happens that becomes very, very interesting, is the fact that when you start this journey of that, I want to begin to pursue after my goal, I want to begin to pursue after my purposes. What happens is the fact that it gets to a point where you just feel like you do not have any real friends around you, and then you are beginning to think that, should I just go back and just live my life so that I can be, because there is not going to be any meaningful fun around you at that moment. But what happens when, if you are able to, you have to become comfortable with boredom. That's it. You have to become very comfortable with boredom, because you are going to become bored. A lot of things is not going to make sense. As a matter of fact, you will not have anything doing, and you cannot just give in to the urge to just, let me go and chill with Toby, let me go and chill with anybody, let me just go and let me see what's going on outside there, because a little distraction will make you drift away from the way. You understand? And so this journey is going to actually take a lot of things from you. It's going to demand a lot of things from you, and you should be able to want to give into it 100%. And in giving to it 100%, it is not that you need to now begin to take life very serious, because that's the mistake some of us make when we are intending to take our life at its core and begin to move and run with our vision. We take life too serious. Every conversation have to be this. Be yourself, express yourself. You don't have to be very conservative about what you think or that the direction at which you don't make everybody feel like a fool. For example, your friend can be an artist, maybe he draws and paints, and then maybe you are an entrepreneur, so to say, and so the direction might not be looking like something that is meaningful, that is correlating. Let them be who they are. You don't have to change them to fit into your picture. And that's the mistake some of us actually make when we decide that, okay, we want to be feasible, you want to face life squarely, we want to try to make everybody to see what you are saying, to feel what you are feeling, so that all of you can run together. You try to fine-tune your friend, you try to make them want to read book, you try to make them want to go out and mingle. Let them be. The thing is, yes, it's quite all right for you to want to push your friends to become better, yes, but there is a limit to all of those things. There is a very large limit to all of those things. And if you do not give your time to work on yourself, my bro, work on yourself, sister. And in working on yourself, you would get to a point at which life will feel like it's not making any sense. That's it. For example, let's say your friend now is a musical artist, an upcoming musical artist, and let's say you're a career person and you are trying to further your career and maybe develop your skills and become better at what you do. Excuse me. When you begin to compare yourself with this your friend as a musical artist, your journey will not be the same thing. But that does not mean you cannot be friend, and that does not mean you have to begin to force your friend to. What is demanding of you to to follow through in your career is different from what is demanding of him to be able to make it big in his musical journey. And it's different, and you have to be able to understand this thing. And what is now even crazy is the fact that these friends of yours, if they compare themselves with you, that you are going through career and begin to maybe want to get skills, it might help them, but it's going to also divert them. Look at your excuse sometimes, although it might look good, it might look meaningful, it might look like something that makes a lot of sense, but as a matter of fact, your excuse sometimes could be you trying to just give yourself reasons why you cannot just pursue your goal. Maybe you do not have the confidence to really do it, and then you justify by saying that, okay, I read, instead of you meeting or reaching out or making those calls and reaching out to people, or even going out for an event, and you say that, okay, instead of I actually read 2 books today, and you feel fulfilled about it, or you feel that, okay, you are moving forward to your goal. You might just be there tweaking yourself and just lying to yourself. And you do not want to lie to yourself. I bet it with you. You do not want to lie to yourself. You do not want to be the one that lied to you, because you are all that you are, and you should be able to trust yourself to the core. And trusting yourself to the core, most of the time and every time, will demand that you are truthful to yourself, so that you can be able to live a life that you can trust your judgment at every point in time. And that's it. So I'm going to be stopping here for today. Um, my name is Emmanuel Ajokbo. I am Oba Imole, the light of a thousand sun. I'll come up again with something, and I hope you have learned something. And this is going to push you to become a better version of yourself. This was my first trial. Thank you. Peace.